In this lesson, we are going to have our first look at some of the Delphi features. I will kick this lesson off by walking you through the different features of the Delphi integrated development environment. Please make notes, and after this video lesson, go to your own copy of Delphi and try to identify the different parts of the IDE. You must know the Delphi IDE better than you know your best friend, because in the rest of this video series I will refer to these different parts, and it will help you tremendously if you know what I'm talking about. It will also help a great deal in exams, tests and assignments if you know how and where to access the different features in the IDE. In the previous lesson, I explained that Delphi's IDE is analogous to the assembly line used by a car manufacturer. Everything that you see on the screen is the assembly line, or Delphi's Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. I will give you a tour through this factory, and you will see where all the different tools and parts are kept to manufacture or develop your program. Right at the top of the IDE, you will find the title bar. The title bar displays the version of Delphi that you are using, as well as the name of your project. In this case, Delphi 7 and Project 1. Later, you will learn that it is a good practice to assign proper and descriptive names to your Delphi projects. When you rename a project, the new name will then replace Project 1 in the title bar. Just like most Windows-based applications, Delphi also provides us with a menu bar. Some of the menus that we find in the menu bar are the File menu and the Edit menu. The File menu provides the command to open files, save files, print files and so on. The Edit menu enables us to do editing like cut, copy and paste. There are many other menus available that you can explore in your own time. As we progress through this video series, we will use many of these menu items. Under the menu bar, you can find the speed bar. The speed bar contains many little buttons with pictures or bitmaps on them. These buttons enable us to perform the same tasks as with the menu items. For example, we have a Save and a Save All button in the speed bar. Instead of dropping down the File menu and then clicking on the Save menu item, you can directly click on the Save button in the speed bar. It is faster and more convenient. That's why it's called the speed bar. Next to the speed bar, you can find the component palette. The component palette is like the shelves on the factory floor where all our parts are kept. The component palette uses tabs to organize our components. The components that we will use often are organized in a tab called Standard. The Standard tab is the shelf that keeps standard components like the button, edit, label and so on. Another tab that we will use often is called Additional. The Additional shelf or tab keeps components like a bitmap button, image and shape. There are many other shelves like the Win32 tab, the Data Access tab and so on. You can also use the left and right arrow on the right hand side of the component palette to navigate to more tabs. On the left hand side of the IDE, you can find Delphi's Object Tree View in a separate window. The Object Tree View displays a hierarchical list of component names that you are using for your project. In this case, it only displays the name of a component called Form 1. All new projects start with a new form called Form 1, but you will learn more about forms later. When you place components like buttons, edits and labels on a form, their names will be listed under the form's name in the Object Tree View. While you are working in the IDE, you can select, organize and keep track of components by using the Object Tree View, but more about this later. Under the Object Tree View, you can find the Object Inspector, also in a separate window. We use the Object Inspector to configure and change the characteristics of components. At the moment, we only have a form in the project, therefore the form is the selected component. As you can see, the name of Form 1 displays in the Object Inspector. That indicates to us that the characteristics or properties listed in the Object Inspector belong to Form 1. If we make changes on any of the listed properties, we will change the way Form 1 looks. For example, the caption property refers to the caption or title that is displayed on the top left-hand corner of the form. At the moment, it is also Form 1, but if you change it to something else, the title of the form will change. There are many other properties that you can use to change the appearance of the component. For example, if you scroll down the list, almost at the bottom you can find the width property. The width property determines how wide the form will appear on the screen. Also, notice that the properties are displayed in alphabetical order in the Properties tab of the Object Inspector. The Object Inspector also has an Events tab. The names of the different events are also listed in alphabetical order in the Events tab. An event is an action that is triggered in response to interaction by a user or a process. For example, when the user opens a form for the first time, its onCreate event will be triggered. Or when the user clicks directly on the form, its onClick event will be triggered. Programmers write instructions or code to determine what must happen when these events are triggered. You will learn more about events and event handlers later in this video series. As mentioned before, when you create a new Delphi application, a new form will be placed in the IDE by default. The form provides the primary design surface for your application. You will place all the different components that you need on the form. If you look a little closer, you will see that the form has an array of little dots on its surface. That is to help you to organize and align your components on the form. But the people that use your program will not see these dots. In the previous lesson, I explained that the program follows instructions typed in by a programmer. Those instructions are called code. Delphi's IDE provides us with a window to type and edit code. We call this window the code editor. Later you will learn how to write code in the code editor. You will also see that a big chunk of the code is generated by Delphi so that you do not have to work too hard. Alright, and that concludes our tour. Now you can go and explore the IDE yourself. In the next topic I will show you how to work with forms and components. We will also briefly look at some simple code.